Amanda, you can start anytime. You've got it fixed, right? Okay, so we're going to be doing the Sloppy Joe mixture, and as soon as I'm done with the video, you guys are going to be going to the lab and going ahead and doing your Sloppy Joe mixture, but I'm going to demonstrate it first. So what I want to do before I even start, in one of my classes I have, or in a couple of my classes, I have people that are vegetarian, and this is just a vegetable substitute for like hamburger meat. It's like soy protein and vegetable protein. Do you see? Does it look like hamburger meat? Can you guys see it? Let me take some out in the spoon so you guys can see what it looks like. I just want you to be aware of this. Actually, in fourth period, I'm going to make my demo. I'm going to use this for my demo. It just looks like cooked hamburger meat, but it's called vegetable protein. And people that are vegetarian use this as a substitute for hamburger meat. Okay? But we won't be using it. I just wanted you to be familiar with it. So we're going to go ahead and be cooking our hamburger. It tells us to put a little bit of salt in, doesn't it? Read your first step there. It says sprinkle a little bit of, now, oh, Amanda, can you either put it, not at an angle, let's put it, actually it works better if you turn it sideways, I've been noticing. So, and if you want to set it there or something, that's fine. But I've noticed the finished product is better if it's sideways. Okay, so we're going to sprinkle just a little bit of salt in here. Then we're going to put the hamburger meat in. And we will be going ahead and chopping. We'll just chop the hamburger meat. As it cooks, we want to chop it into little tiny pieces. And I already threw that packaging away, but the package that I just threw away for this hamburger meat said 93% lean, 7% fat. Some of the hamburger meat that you can buy at the store is like 73% lean, which means how much fat's that going to have in it?
27.
27% fat. So guys, this is only 7% fat. There's sometimes in some stores you can get some that's 96% lean and only 4% fat. But this one is pretty good. It's not going to cook off a lot of fat in the pan. But the reason a lot of people go to vegetarian diets is because too much animal fat in your diet can clog your arteries. It's not healthy for you. So I just want you to be aware of that. When you get meat at the store, make wise choices. Get the cuts or the packaging that doesn't have as much fat. And if you do get the kind that's fat, got a lot of fat in it, you need to either rinse the fat off in a strainer or use a paper towel and sop up the fat that cooks off. With this one, we're pretty good. We don't have to worry too much about this unless for some reason your package of hamburger meat gets a lot of fat, cooks off a lot of fat. All right. So we're going to be cooking the hamburger meat and the onion. So I'm going to add a half a tablespoon, which is, if there's 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon, how much onion do we put? 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon, right? So what's half of a tablespoon?
1.5.
1.5, yes, 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder. Okay, not onion powder, it's actually chopped dried onion. So we're going to just cook that with our hamburger meat. And we want to make sure that we cook our hamburger meat until it's totally browned. Don't start adding the tomato sauce or any of the other ingredients except the onions until it's totally brown. So we want to get it all browned. While it's browning, I'm going to get a custard cup and put some of my ingredients in the custard cup. See the ingredients that all go in together? The garlic powder, the chili powder, Worcestershire sauce, and the brown sugar. Okay. So we're going to start with the garlic powder. It calls for 1/8 teaspoon of garlic powder. And if you make this at home for your family, you might want to double the recipe and use a whole pound of ground beef. Okay, half of a fourth is 1/8, right? So we need 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder. Level that on the side. And then we have 3/4 teaspoon of the Worcestershire. 3/4. So that's a half plus a fourth, correct? What I'm going to do is get another custard cup, and all these supplies will be back on the supply table in a little while when you guys are ready to do your demo, or ready to do your lab, excuse me. So we want to measure it over a custard cup, not over what we're going to be putting in our products. So 1/4 plus a half, 1/4 and a half. You guys that were out doing videoing, we are doing videoing in here, so your behavior is going on video right now. Okay. All right, and then we've got a 1/2 tablespoon of brown sugar, which is, again, what is it? 1½ teaspoons, right? 1½ teaspoons of brown sugar. So we're going to take 1 teaspoon, just level it against the side of the brown sugar container. 1½ Okay, so let's stir this meat. See how it's browning? It's not all browned yet, is it? So just continue to chop it up a little bit as it browns. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and get my tomato sauce measured. It calls for a 1/2 cup of tomato sauce, right? So we'll do that. We'll have this just on the supply table, just like we did for the pizza. I'll have it in a big measuring cup, and you can just pour it into your little measuring cup. So we need a cup or a 1/2 cup, 1/2 cup of tomato sauce, but do not put the tomato sauce in yet. You want to make sure everything's nice and brown. Okay. All right. Does it look pretty brown, everybody? Do you see any pink?
I can see it. I can see pink. It's brown.
Can you see a little piece of pink?
Okay.
It's brown.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. Guys, the reason, in the past I've had some people that before they even brown their meat, they start putting the tomato sauce in and everything, and it just changes the consistency. It doesn't look near as good. It probably tastes fine, but make sure you brown all the meat first before you start adding anything except the onion. So now we're going to go ahead and add the garlic powder, chili powder, Worcestershire, and the brown sugar. That you guys are going to get all that from the supply table. Put all of that in. Use your rubber spatula, guys, to get it out of the custard cup, because you don't want to leave all your seasoning in the custard cup. Then your sloppy dough is not going to taste near as good as it should. Okay, so then we're going to put all that in. Stir it up. Okay. All right. Now we're going to add the tomato sauce. And again, use your rubber spatula. Add the tomato sauce. Clean it out with the rubber spatula. And it calls for 1½ teaspoons of mustard. So we're going to take our 1½ and you guys that are assistant cooks, you'll be taking a custard cup back to the supply table and putting it in, or actually you could just bring it back. This isn't, just leave it on your tray. You don't have to put it in a custard cup. You can just bring it on your tray back to your table on the tray in your measuring spoons. Okay? Just measure all your other things first and measure the mustard last. Okay, then we're going to stir it all together and put it on simmer, turn it down on low, and cook it for about 5 minutes. Did somebody here have a question? I thought somebody started to ask me a question. Oh, Lexi, I thought I heard somebody start to ask me a question. Yes.
Okay, if for those that don't like mustard, do we have to put it in there?
Oh, I want you to put it in because guys, you won't even know that it's got mustard in it. It mixes all the flavors, the flavors mixed together, and students yesterday were saying, Mrs. Perkins, this is so good. It tastes really good. So yes, follow the recipe, do what it says. You won't be able to distinguish that it's got mustard in it. It mixes, the flavors mix in beautifully. Okay, so then we're just gonna simmer it for a little bit. And what I'm gonna do with this extra, I'm gonna come around, I'm gonna give the 5-person group some of this, and I'll give all of you a little bit of this so you've got a little bit of extra for your sloppy joes above what you make. Okay, any questions about making sloppy joes? Okay, so in a few